This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. After a comfortable win, we managed to turn into a heartstopper. Still, it's a win over a top side and essentially a 4-point win with the bye next week. Chloe, do you think the team will head towards our next game full of confidence after that win, or will the finish to the game haunt them for the next fortnight?
No, I think they'll come in with confidence. I would also like when they do have their video time that they should maybe rewatch the game, and especially the last 3 minutes, and see where they went wrong in that aspect and just gain more control, because the Warriors are very confident at the moment and can come back from any behind, like as you saw probably with Canberra game. So it is going to be a tough game, but I think if they stay strong and confident and defense and no mistakes, then maybe and discipline. We've got to make sure the discipline is low and make sure that they defend the line better than and more severe as they were yesterday. That's my take.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've had a late game fade out this year, because we did a similar thing against the Broncos where we were right in the game, but fell away badly late and conceded quite a lot of points at the back end of that game. So maybe a little bit of a concern. But we got the win at the end of the day. So, I think we've got to be happy with any wins we can get the way our season's going. And a win over South is one I'll certainly take every day of the week. All right, we'll move into our next segment. And I don't know exactly what he's got put together tonight, so it's a mystery to me, as it will be to you.
Yeah, thanks, Donny. So welcome to Heroes and Villains, round 14, Rabbitohs edition. Donny, I actually find it harder to pick a hero after a win than I do after a loss. There was so many players that put in effort in various areas yesterday that, could have been worthy of, getting the hero. But the one that I've picked for this week led the team around the park, as he so often does, carries his team on his shoulders week in, week out. And yesterday he had 16 runs for 106 metres, 3 line breaks, 2 try assists, scored a great try himself off some very good lead-up work from Bud Sullivan, and kicked us downfield to the tune of 402 metres. So absolute mammoth performance from, who I'm talking about, Ben Hunt. He gets the hero of the week. Now, while it's difficult to pick a hero after a performance like that, it can actually be equally difficult to pick the bad guy. And try as I might, and of course with Billy Burns not playing, I was unable to actually pick a player or indeed an official to give the raspberry to. Now, we saw Jacob Little and Jaden Sewers sitting on the sidelines just during that last 10 minutes, which actually brought back memories of the 1989 grand final, where Balmain coach Warren Ryan did basically the same thing with Blocker Roach and Paul Sirenen. So it's for that reason that, with tongue very firmly planted in cheek, I anoint interim coach Ryan Carr as the villain. Back to you, Donny, in the central commentary position.
Uh-oh. Yeah, no, I like it, mate. Yeah, it's, I could see the tongue firmly planted in the cheek. What are we up to? Round 14, round 15 game against South. It's pretty much the same as a grand final. But no, I think Q in the rack and used his last substitution on getting a Monet out there for Jacob Little. So I don't know. I sort of agree with what you're saying. There was images there in that last 3 minutes as South was scoring try after try of Little and Sewer watching helplessly from the sidelines. It did bring back some imagery of the Paul Balmain Tigers in that fateful grand final. All right, we move into Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year. Interestingly, the player that ended up with the most votes was actually second best, according to most of the panel members, but ended up with the most votes overall. One of the few that did have him as the man of the match was Jesse. Jesse, why did you think Ben Hunt was above the rest?
I think he's showing why he's committed to the club. There's been a lot of speculation about his future, that he's going to be moved to 9 if whoever the new coach is, been linked to clubs like the Bulldogs, Canberra, and the Titans. But I think he's really showing his commitment to the club by putting in another stellar performance. He had finished the game with 1 try, 2 try assists, 16 runs, 106 meters, one tackle, 3 line break assists, 1 offload, 8 tackles, but he had over 400 meters from 16 kicks. So again, he pretty much was involved in nearly every try they scored yesterday. And he's showing he's a class above the rest of our side. That's why he's first picked in those Origin and Test sides. And yeah, I thought he was again superb and shows what Ben Hunt really means to our football side, what the football side means to him. Because yeah, he's really putting in, week out, consistently in there. He continues to deliver, and I really admire that. He is going to be he's still committed to the club, even though there was speculation that he'd move on if Hook was moved on, but he's still showing that he's committed to the club, and I'm really happy that he's really putting in for the club. And yeah, he's whoever says that he's not our number 7, they really need to go look at themselves, because right now he is our best number 7.
Well, he's
No
our best
questions
number
asked.
7. He's our best number 9. He's probably our best fullback if he was given a chance. Like, doesn't matter where you play Ben Hunt, he's going to be our best player in that position. You could put him in the front row, and he's going to be our best front rower. Like, doesn't matter where you put Ben Hunt, he's going to be our best player.
Yeah, he's the ultimate competitor. That's what I love most about him, and he's going to he's never going to let you down. He's always going to put in and compete 100%.
A lot of talk in the comments about Dean Young because of a throwaway comment on the Matty John show. He is not the front runner for the gig. The gig has already been given to Flano. Flano has the job. He has already been signed as the coach. It just hasn't been announced yet. It will not be Dean Young. So I don't think there's any chance in the world that it's going to be Dean Young. So everyone just calm down a little bit. It will be Shane Flanagan. Why on earth? Give me one reason why Shane Flanagan would be contacting Ben Hunt and having an interview with Ben Hunt to tell him that he's going to be playing him at halfback. Why would he do that if he hasn't already got the job as the coach? There's no point in that conversation occurring if Shane Flanagan isn't already the coach. So just wait for the announcement. It will be Shane Flanagan, in my opinion. I don't think there's any chance in the world it's going to be Dean Young.
Well,
Muzza?
I heard word also that if Dean Young does get the gig, that James Jimmy Gray is going to do a nudie run.
You already owes this one.
You already
Yeah,
got
that'll be
one.
good.
I think if he might have to do a helicopter if that's the case. All right, back to the player of the year, and Muzza. You had the exact same 3-2-1s as I did, so I think you're the smartest man on the panel tonight. So that included Jaden Sewer as our best. Tell me why you felt Sewer was the best on the ground.
Well, first of all, if now you're the captain, so you're the smartest man. I'll count back. I'll be the second. But yeah, look, I just thought he was busy the whole game. I think he's starting to show the form that we were sort of accustomed to when he came to the club, that we thought he was going to play. Just the amount of grief that he gave the Rabbitohs down that right hand side. Bust tackle, bust offloads, just drawing blokes and just taking blokes away from the middle for that next play. When we were swinging the ball left after those plays, we were starting to find gaps, but he was drawing those blokes out. He doesn't he probably doesn't get as busy in defence as much as he probably could for an 80-minute player. But yeah, look, I just think he's really hit these straps. I mean, I could have given it to Ben Hunt. I was really sort of tossing up out of those two for the 3. For the 2 and 1, there's probably another 5 or 6 blokes that really had a dig. But I think Sewer is just getting to the form that we want to see.
Yeah, no, it was certainly really close. I think for all 3 that I had in my votes, mate, and it could have gone in any order, to be honest. But yeah, I agreed with you. I ended up going with Jaden Sewer as the man of the match, just because I thought the main focus of our game plan was to target Dean Hawkins in the defensive line, and Jaden Sewer was the man that was targeting him, and he got at him, and that was a big part of the reason why I thought we won the game. So I thought the way that Sewer was able to execute that game plan, obviously the halves heavily involved in getting in the ball and isolating him as well. But yeah, I thought Sewer was fantastic in that game, and again very, very aggressive, and that's what we've been missing in our pack is that enforcer, and I think Sewer is really starting to step into that role with a bit of gusto. So I'm loving what he's doing at the minute. But Big T, Muzzer says I'm the smartest man on the panel, but I don't know that I'd agree with that, because you got stuck into me. I think it was last Sunday for bagging Michael Molo for being too small for NRL. This week got through an absolute ton of work and was rewarded with a good try late. You had him as our best. So talk me through why Mickey blew your mind.
Whenever I talk, people listen, Donny. Like, I did it last year with Blocker. I said, Blocker, his game is not good enough. He needs to pick it up. And, yep, after that, Blocker played well. I've done that with Mikey Molo last week. I said he needs to do a bit more work than what he's doing. And at number 10, I thought he was better at 13, but number 10, like, his stats were 20 runs, 166 metres, 61 post-contact, 32 tackles, no missed tackles, a try, tackle breaks. You want me to keep going? That's why he was my man of the match. He just done everything, and his work off the ball is like Blocker does, like his dummy runs and he just does it all. He's improving every week.
Yeah,
I'm with you, T.
It was a very, very
Thanks,
good
Daz.
performance, mate, and yeah, he was certainly
Oh, his best, definitely his best.
Yeah, he was certainly right up there. Hasman, what's your smart ass remark?
So Big T, just wondering when you're planning on doing your Oracle thing with Billy Burns.
Well, I've got to work on Billy yet. I've got to have a look at his stats. He done well. He played well in Resi. He scored the first 2 tries for the Dragons. And that's all I watched. I watched about the first 10 minutes. I don't know where we scored. Yeah. So, Billy Burns, step up, son. Come on.
We had to go at 5'8" too yesterday.
He did. I don't think he played 5'8" in NRL though. But
No, definitely.
come on, Billy.
not.
Come on, Billy. I got faith in you, mate. I got faith in you.
He put in one kick, and it looked like it was the first time he'd ever actually kicked a ball in a game. It was an awkward looking thing. It was still reasonably effective, but I definitely don't think he was a 6. He sort of got moved around a bit during the course of the game. And it seemed like it was a plan from Goodwin, which well, once again makes me question Goodwin a little bit as a coach. But in any case, we'll move on. There are many ways you can support the Mad Dragons podcast. Choose the one that suits you best. You can become a member of the show, which gets you some merchandise among other member benefits by going to patreon.com/the Mad Dragons podcast and selecting the membership package that suits you. You can also go to Etsy, search for the Mad Dragons podcast and get some merchandise on its own. Or you can get in touch with us and we can personalize a sponsorship package to suit your brand. So get in touch with us. Let us know how you'd like to support the Mad Dragons podcast. But most of all, just get involved. Get involved in the show with your comments and watching along. And we'll try and get to any questions that you might have throughout the night. Right, moving into some moments in the match. And Youngie, let's start with Matty Feeney. He again had some defensive issues with the first try, giving Kenner too much room, but then made up for it with a great line break and some silky skills that really didn't fit for a winger. to set up the Ben Hunt try. Overall, do you think the good things Finai does make up for his flaws, or do you feel it's time to look to other options on that wing?
That's a very good question, Donny. He's very up and down, isn't he? And just when you start to think, he's having a good game, he'll let you down. So, oh, geez. I think once he gets it together again, like I still remember that try that he scored against the Broncos last year, and I really thought then that he was going to come of age, but he's just so inconsistent. So I can't really answer that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the try everyone remembers, and that's why everyone's expectations have been set just that little bit higher for what they thought they were going to get from Matty this season, and maybe they've let the fans down a little bit in terms of what they expected compared to what he's delivered. I'm sort of with you. There's a lot of people saying drop him. He's not NRL standard. I know he comes up with some defensive issues, but I think he does make up for that. I think he's good. He's pretty decent in the air. He's pretty safe under the high ball. I know he got out-leapt last week, but that can happen to anyone. You
can almost isolate him if the opposition attack can almost isolate him and catch him out, because he shoots up out of the line. His timing isn't quite right, and he just gets caught out so much.
Yeah,
a lot of.
I think he can work on the defensive stuff, but I think he's a real tackle buster, a real threat when he gets some early ball and a bit of space. He's hard to handle. He's hard to tackle, and he's capable of good things. And I think if we stick with him, we'll be rewarded in time. But he has taken a small step backwards, I think, for the most part this season. But there's still great signs in terms of what he is actually capable of, and I think he's still got a good future. All right, Rob, Dragons got out to a 10-4 lead with Tyrell Sloan converting a 2-on-1 to set up Mikaele Ravalawa. Sloan didn't get a lot of love in terms of votes from the panel, but the most meters that he's had all season, the second most tackle breaks he's had all season, the most try assists in a game that he's had all year. Was this a breakout game for Tyrell, or was it just a case of dry track, daytime footy, and that's his jam?
No, I think it was a breakout, a fantastic game by him. You've got to remember, we're putting this young man a bit up on a pedestal all the time. You look at some of the top fullbacks in the game over time, and they currently are. We continually sort of, Slaney's just got the pace. He's got the ability and all that. He's got this sort of pressure on him all the time. And watching the game, I was behind him 110%. He was trying, putting in an effort without a doubt. We sometimes, like I said, maybe a bit hard on him. We want him to crop up at attack. We want him to be there all the time, running off the forwards, all that sort of stuff. But again, going back to your stats, Donny, without a doubt, I think there was try assists. There was a huge amount of stats in there for him, and he probably went unnoticed. We raved a bit about Ben Hunt, but I think Ben Hunt touched the ball a shitload of times. Got the ball a lot of times as well too. Brilliant player, but again, I think Sloan deserves a bit of credit for this game. I thought I polled him a couple of points, 2 points in Big T. I polled Michael Molo as 3 points, but I thought Slaney was pretty bloody good, Donny. No complaints from me, mate. And on the way up, I think. We just got to give him more time.
Hey, Rob's
Definitely
the
got to
smartest man
persist
on the
with him.
VOD. Rob's the smartest man on the VOD. Mikey Marlowe, 3 points. There you go. See? Me and Rob, brothers.
I thought he was brilliant, mate.
Mickey.
I had Michael Milo for 3 points as well.
You did, yep.
Oh, too many.
You did. Rob's not actually an official voter on the Mad Dragons vodcast this season. I'm sure he'll join in next season. But Daz and Big T both had him with the 3.
he was very close for me as well. But it was as it's very hard to pick when there was a lot of standouts. I thought
Who's been the better Milo this year overall?
Michael, I think.
Frankie for consistency, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, like, again, I think they're very different types of players. I think Frankie's more that hard running, intimidating type front rower, whereas Michael Molo's that sort of small, undersized prop with a bit of footwork in around the middle that causes some problems and has a higher work rate. So completely different types of players.
Donny,
but-
sorry, mate, just to get back to what you were talking about with Sloaney. Remember young Pappenhausen coming onto the scene at West Tigers and going to Melbourne? Eventually he cracked it. So I think in time, this young man's going to get right up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
think me and Muzza both had Sloaney for points this round, and I thought he was fantastic, mate. I thought a couple of try assists. He ran for 180 odd meters in this game.
84, yeah.
So I mean that's the most he's done so far this season. His work rate he was sniffing around the ball all day. He was hunting up around Jaden Sewer and Josh Kerr and these kind of guys looking for those offloads to try and create havoc through that second phase play. I thought he was doing a lot of the things that we've asked him to do, that we want to see him do more of, and he was certainly a lot more involved in the attack, which has been the issue. I guess we've kind of seen hints of this before though, and the big drama is that consistency, finding that consistency and doing it week in, week out, because doing it once, that's fine, but he's got to start doing that sort of every week, and if he can produce these sorts of numbers again and again, then he'll go to that next level and get that respect that I think he deserves. Chloe, plenty of positives, but we do have to address some negatives as well. After dominating the opening half, we gave up a strange try just before half time. What the hell happened with this try?
Thank you for the question. I did have to rewatch it in the highlights, so I've rewatched about 3 times. So I think the kick didn't go to our Dragons guy, and I think Ravalawa was like out of didn't really watch where it was going, and it went to the Rabbitohs guy. So I think our defense was lacking. That's what I saw with this. So I think the ball didn't really go further enough for like both of them. There's 2 Dragons guys, so I think that the whole thing, they just didn't even bother. And that's it. Thank you, Hasman. He back turned. That's it. Thank you. I'm not very good with my descriptive words, guys. But that's what he back turned, and then that's what happened. And then that guy from the Rabbitohs scored because we were just too soft. That's it, soft.
Yeah, it was definitely a strange one, that's for sure. I think, Rubber sort of seemed to lose it in the sun and got turned in circles looking around for the ball. He couldn't find it. He didn't know where it was. Lomax looked probably sillier than anybody. He was just going back to block for Rubber, to allow Rubber to take the easy catch. But because Rubber was running around in circles, Zach didn't really know where to be to block for him, and that was all an absolute mess. The Rabbitohs took it uncontested, and Kaloa Matangi went across, and it was a painful try, pretty much right on half time. That after dominating so much to go in with only a 4-point lead, Hasman going to the sheds with just that 4-point lead after looking comfortably the better team. Were you a bit concerned about a second half capitulation?
Not really. I mean, the way that we were playing, it looked like we had a lot of energy, a lot of confidence. Obviously, the try that we've just spoken about was a little bit disappointing. I don't know what Ravel was doing with his back turn. Maybe he lost it in the sun. I don't know. But I hadn't seen any signs at that point that we were about to have another fade out. I mean, when actually we'll probably get to this a bit later as well. But so when Milo scored and Lomas converted, that was 30-14 at that point with 12 minutes to go. I thought we were home and hosed. And probably would have gone on to win against pretty much any team, especially after Jaden Hunt went over for his first one to make it 36-14. Now, why Hunt went for a short dropout like that is beyond me with a lead like we had. But that was basically the catalyst for the comeback. And I was thinking, no, surely not. Not even we could give up 22-point lead with 4 minutes to go. Not even with that crap. Thankfully, I was right, albeit only just. And we did go on to win by 6, which means we stay last for at least another week. If we hadn't conceded one of those tries, we would have moved up. But who knows? We might move up next week.
Yeah, personally, I think that's a better time to try a short dropout than when we normally do short dropouts. We've got to practice them. We've got to get better at them. We've got to practice them in game situations. Leading 36-14 seems the perfect time to actually have a bit of a practice and try and get one right without a lot of pressure. But yeah, I think we got screwed over by the video ref as well with that one. So yeah.
Well, but I'd have to disagree with that. To be honest, Tony, if you've got a lead like that, why would you even take the risk? Just belt.
Well, as Jamie Soward has done the stats, and he says when you belt the living shit out of it, you're more likely to concede in that set than if you go short. Statistically, teams are better at defending inside their own 10-meter zone than from 20 or 30 out.
Well, I mean, he'd have a better idea than I would, but
that was why Jamie Soward kept instructing Corey Norman to do short dropouts, and that's why every team now does short dropouts, because you're a chance of getting the ball back, and you're probably going to hold them out from 10 out anyway. So you're not really giving anything up by doing a short dropout.
Surely he has seen the stats that will basically show him that we are shithouse at getting the ball back.
Well, that's why he wants to practice it like they practice it all week at training, and it works every time at training. You go into a game and you.
But the way that we approach him, it's a low percentage play.
Yeah,
there's no point in doing a short dropout if you only get the ball back, once out of every bloody 10 times.
Yeah, I think you're focusing on the wrong thing. I think we've got to get better at doing short dropouts, and we've got to keep doing them until we're better at them, because every single team does them. And the teams that are doing the best are the teams that are the best at the short dropouts. So why would you stop doing them? You have to keep doing them because every team is doing it.
We keep bloody conceding tries when we do it. We've actually
concede tries when we don't do it.
We concede lost games because of these short dropouts.
Yeah, I don't think we've lost any games because of a short dropout. We might have conceded a try because of a short dropout, but we've scored tries from short dropouts too.
See if you can name 3.
Well, I can name one from last year, where Jack White and tapped it straight back to Junior Amone, and that was a ripper. That one sticks in your mind. Jesse.
Yeah, I agree. Like, why keep persevering? I don't think they should be doing these short dropouts in game on game day until they perfect it at training. Like,
I bet you, I would 100% guarantee you they perfected it at training. They do it. They do 1,000 of them at training, and all of them would work because they're doing it against our defence, who can't defend against short dropouts. So the only time you can do it against quality defence is when you're doing it in a game against an opposition. I don't know how we can do it against teams that actually know how to defend against a short dropout when we don't know how to defend against it.
It's exactly the same as everyone going on about Zach Lomax and his kicking there a few weeks ago. He should be out there practicing. Of course, he's out there practicing. It's something that's practiced. But yeah, we just, like you said, we're just the shittest at it, like a lot of other things.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was actually thinking that.
Yeah.
Why continue to do it if it's not working?
Did you notice that Hunt even tried one, not to the sides, he tried one out in front, a balloon type kick?
Well, that was the one we're talking about, isn't it? The one that pretty much went straight forward, and Tyrell Sloan got to the ball, knocked it backwards. Referee called knock on. We challenged it. It was clearly knocked backwards. It was 100% knocked backwards. And the bunker should have got your villain for this because it was the worst call
You know,
I've seen in a while. He
100%.
smashed it backwards. The only direction it could go was backwards. And they've watched it a couple of times and gone, nah, that's gone forward. How?
So I agree with you, Donny.
But we
that
did
without a
get
doubt,
the
they're
ball
practicing
back.
it. They're practicing it without a doubt. They're practicing different ways.
We did
different
get the
areas.
ball back. We got shafted by the bloody bunker again.
Again.
Hasman?
I did actually notice something, which I may be sort of completely off my head here, but just
Wouldn't be any different.
Right, I'll deal with you later, Bill. I did happen to notice, could be completely unrelated, just before Ben Hunt took that short dropout, I noticed he, sort of put his thumb over his shoulders, which I'm wondering if that was a sign, it's going to be a short one. So maybe you sort of telegraphed it a little bit.
You reckon the opposition knows it's coming because he's got, touches the hat and, the old baseball signals.
It was just a simple, thumb gesture over his shoulder.
he's hitchhiking.
Which
Well,
Ben
I'm
Hornby
sure there
probably
is.
knew.
Yeah, I'm sure there is some sort of signal that they give so everybody knows it's coming, mate. They got to let their teammates know somehow without screaming out. It's going to be a short dropout.
You might have been signalling Hook out in the car park, mate.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on from short dropouts for a little while. I'm sure we'll circle back to it at some point. But Jesse, we scored first in the second half, but we started to look a little bit tired in defence and a bit ragged around the middle of the field. And with about 25 minutes to go, and the evidence of that was Damien Cook just carving us up before setting up Tass. Again, with the way our season has played out, were you worried at this point that that might have been the beginning of the end and the Dragons were starting to fade?
Yeah, 100%. Because as you know, Souths are one of the best attacking teams in the comp. And when they get the momentum, they're very hard to stop. Like Damien Cook, I remember just looking at it before. So it was a quick play the ball from Campbell Graham, and then Damien Cook saw the space out wide. He went straight through. I thought, oh, here we go. Like Damien Cook's cut us to shreds many times before, and he was on a mission to do it again, playing for an Origin spot. He wanted a big game, and I thought he was probably their best player on the day. When I saw him in through, I thought, oh, here we go again. Like, here they come. They're coming to get us. And then when Tyrell Sloan tried to grab him by the jersey, like, what the hell was that? What sort of attempt tackle was that? Like, why grab them by the jersey? Just go for his legs or do something. Not grab him by the jersey. And then as soon as they got the ball wide, it was inevitable that they were going to score. They had the numbers. Our defense was, they weren't in position to make it a tackle. And they were running backwards, trying to keep up with them. And by then, the Souths had already made the meters. And by the time we saw them, it was too late. And I was really worried at that point of the game, like they were coming to get us. And as I said, once Souths have the momentum, they're really hard to stop. They're that sort of side that they can pile on the points very quickly. And it was.
I've seen some of the criticism of Sloan. I think a lot of the criticism comes from people that have never been in a situation where they've had to tackle a guy in full flight as the last line of defence. It's not as easy as it looks. And I think Sloan came across, tried to make the tackle, gets a bit of a fend, grabs hold of the jersey and just tries to hold on to whatever he can get his hands on. And he did enough to slow Cook down until Feeney could get there to finish off the tackle. But I thought it was a fair effort from Sloan on Cook. It's in those one-on-one situations, you are going to miss 90% of the times, and every single fullback in the comp is going to miss 90% of the times in those situations. Muzzer?
Yeah, I think too much was put on Sloan with that missed tackle or the attempt to tackle, but nothing was really said about how he broke that line. went straight. Frankie Milo and Bud just basically looked at each other, and you know that's where it started. We shut him down there. We're not talking about Sloan, you know, falling off another tackle. I watched that game, the Dolphins, and who'd they get flogged by?
Manly.
Manly. You know, they scored 10 tries, and in all 10 of those tries, the hammer either got stood up, brushed off, or wasn't anywhere near it. You know, that's 10 tries, and he's playing Origin. So I think it's too much. Look, we shut him down at the play the ball instead of him running past two players just down there. We're not talking about it.
Yeah. No, I think there was 3 players that sort of were in that tackle on Campbell Graham, and they never put him to the ground. They never controlled the ruck, and all 3 were basically out of play. There was no one at marker, and the other 2 were beside the ruck, and they couldn't make the tackle because they were trying to get back on side, and that just left a big space there for Cook to run through. It was it looked tired. Everything about it looked tired. We looked exhausted, and there was still 25 minutes to go. I've got to say, I was a little bit worried at that point.
As you said, Donny, like he's torn us apart many times for these running from dummy half, and I thought he was going to do it again in that game yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got a fear of these fast dummy halves because they've caused a lot of headaches over the last couple of seasons. Muzza, I want to talk a little bit about Ryan Carr. I know he tongue-in-cheek got the villain from Hasman before, but we've seen him speak, and we've all been impressed by a lot of the things that he has to say. But tactically in this game, there was a clear plan to get at Dean Hawkins. How did you feel about this tactic and the way the team executed it?
Well, look, if he didn't use that tactic, he'd probably be asking questions. The bloke's going to come in trying to take over from a bloke like Cody Walker, who's had probably one of the best years that he's had, to step in for Cody Walker and to not target him. Well, we'll be asking questions about our coach then, I think. But I think it did work well. Sewer monstered him there a few times, and I mean, I think he only missed 2 or 3 tackles the whole game, but I think it was just the pressure, the constant pressure, and he only missed a couple, but he was stood up a couple times as well. But tactic, it did work okay. And like I said, if we didn't use it, you'd be asking the questions.
Yeah, I just think the way that they were able to execute it was pretty impressive. I think there'd be a few people that might have questioned the amount of sort of crash plays and different things we did close to their line. But what happens when you're running those crash plays is that all of a sudden the support for Hawkins on the edge starts to creep in a little bit as well. And that allows us then to isolate him, which we were able to do a couple of times on that edge. And I thought it was really well thought out in terms of how to actually get, like, it's one thing saying, we want to isolate this bloke and we want to run Jaden Sewer at him, but how do you actually do that? Because they know, the defence knows it's coming as well.
But that Sewer try was well worked.
100%.
Very well worked.
Yep.
You suck them into the centre and bang him on the edge. Easy.
Yeah. Jesse.
I was actually read into it, but there was talk that I had some people saying that Sewer may have mentioned to target Hawkins because Sewer's played for Saps in the past, and he would have played alongside Hawkins, like being knowing a little bit about Saps and how Hawkins hasn't played a lot of NRL. Do you think maybe Sewer mentioned it to Carr or the coaches, like target Dean Hawkins? His lack of NRL experience, hasn't played a lot of top grade. Do you think Sewer may have mentioned it to the staff, like being a sex player himself?
I think any coach worth his salt would have said, that they would have seen Hawkins, who hasn't played a lot of games. They would have done their homework on him. And I don't know whether they would have needed Sewer to tell them that he was a bloke to be targeting in the defensive line. I think even if Cody Walker was playing, they probably still would have targeted him in much the same way. But obviously Hawkins just made that plan a little bit easier. I think you're always looking to target the halves in just about every game. But I guess sometimes it works a little better than others, and it seemed to work really well in this game. But in terms of Carr, I've sort of been looking through trying to work out exactly what it is that we are doing better since he has come on board. And I know it's only 4 games, but it seems in almost every area we're just a little bit better. There's not big differences between what we were doing under Hook and what we are doing now, in terms of, completion rates, errors, discipline, all these sorts of things, just slightly better than what it was under Hook. Line breaks are obviously a big one. We seem a lot better with the ball in hand. 5.3 line breaks per game as opposed to 4.4 per game under Hook. So getting one line break more per game needs one more scoring opportunity every week. So that's a big one. And obviously the missed tackles have dropped quite considerably as well. 27 missed tackles a game compared to 35.9 under Hook. So a couple of little areas that we're doing just a little bit better, and it's making a big difference. I think we certainly look the better team. Big T, Jaden Hunt is a player that many on the podcast have criticised and have doubted that he is NRL quality, but he got our last try and his first try in the NRL. How do you rate Jaden Hunt's overall game, getting 30 minutes and starting at lock?
Yeah, for the time that he was on, I thought he played really, really well. He could have done a little bit more with the ball, but he's worked on his defence and he's worked on his work off the ball. He's going to be a good player, I think, Jaden Hunt. Yeah, I rate him. Not as much as Billy Burns, but no, I rate him high. He's going to be a good player. He's only a young back too. Was he early 20s?
Yeah, 22, 23, I think.
Can I also say how Zane Musgrove and Kerr, they're both playing. They look really much similar as they play. They run to the defence, turn, and look for that over the top offload. And they're looking pretty good too. So yeah, I was disappointed in Ben Murdoch-Masila though. He was pretty poor yesterday.
Yeah, again, I mean that's a big concern is on the edge, and I think we do have a question about that later on somewhere, I think, but we might circle back to that one. But I do think that we do have a bit of an issue in terms of who is that edge forward. I mean, you mentioned Billy Burns, which nobody wants to see that name in a Dragons team list ever again, but. I think it's inevitable that we have to, because I still think I still think he's our best edge forward.
Yeah,
he's the best we've got in that position. So we can keep trying Ben Murdoch-Masila and Jack Bird, but they haven't worked either. So
earlier on, Paul Wiseman was saying that Jack Bird would be a good number 14. I agree with him. Coming off the bench,
I suggested that the other week when he was coming back.
Yeah,
it's
been suggested a few times, I think, but
he can cover anywhere though, can't he? He can play anywhere.
Play centre, 5'8", lock.
Anywhere.
Yeah, there's no position he couldn't play. He could play anywhere. Maybe not wing, but I think pretty much everywhere else he has covered or could cover.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Not front row.
What's the story with him, by the way? He's been out for a few weeks.
Front row and lock are exactly the same. Well,
knee soreness.
Yeah, he's got knee soreness. He's a guy that's had 3 or 4 knee reconstructions and different knee issues. So they're being conservative with his recovery. He was named on the extended bench this week and went through a fitness test and didn't pass. So he's still not right. We've got the bye. He'll be back after the bye. So he was out, missed a game through knee soreness, and then came back for one game, and it still wasn't right. So. He's been out for another couple of weeks, just trying to get that knee issue sorted. So yeah, he'll be back after the bye. But back to the original question, Jaden Hunt. I still think the jury's out. Yeah, it was great to see him score a try.
He had a good game.
Any time you see someone score their first ever NRL try, I think that's a good thing. I still don't think he had that good a game. He played nearly 40 minutes. Well, he played nearly 40 minutes and ran for about 60 metres or something. I still don't think that's good enough if you're playing, 35 to 40 minutes through the middle of the park. I think you've got to get a bit more out of him than that.
We got Jack back next week, so he'll take his
both
place.
Jacks, yeah.
So yeah, I still think that he's got a bit of work to do. His work rate can go up, and defensively he did a job. I thought, as I say, it was great to see him score that try. But how many of his 61 metres came in that run?
I think that was his best game in the NRL for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Best game, and I was surprised at the speed he had, the way he scored that try.
Yeah. Larry Flick says he would be the highest paid 14 in the comp, wouldn't he? I would say that title would still belong to Moses Mbai. Last year was on about $900,000 a year playing at 14. So I think Moses Mbai would still be the highest paid 14 in the history of the game. You got a little halo there, Big T.
Yes, I look lovely. It's a photo I took a while ago, and it just came up like that. And I thought I'll use it. And
You're an angel, Big T.
Oh,
You say your
hopefully
prayers.
one day. Hopefully one day.
You say your prayers.
He's a new board member for the Dragons.
That's me, mate. That's me.
Couldn't do much worse. All right, we'll move into some questions from fans.
I thought it was a Gudger, Hayes.
We got some questions from fans. We no longer have our weekly question from Rob Saguna. Now he's on the panel, so we've got to get some questions from some more people. And this one comes from Everything NRL, Jesse. They've said that with the big crowd at Cogra, many are saying St George should go back to being its own team, as WIN Stadium in Wollongong never sells out. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
I think you know my thoughts on that one. No way. No way.
Oh,
No. Yeah. Yes, they got a big crowd. As you said, there's a situation yesterday, the scenario, like 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, beautiful afternoon at Cogra. Souths aren't too far away from Cogra as well. It's not a short trip down the road. Great afternoon for football. Dragons have been in form of late, and people wanted to see how they were going under Ryan Carr. And yeah, their last month has been great, I thought. And that's I think that's what they wanted to go out and see, support the new coach, support Carr, support what he's doing, and anticipating hopefully the impending signing of our new coach, because yeah, apparently it's going to be announced sometime this week. As for WIN Stadium, I think WIN Stadium, you can get more people at WIN Stadium, but it's just the timing. I think they do record big crowds, but I love watching games at WIN Stadium. If they ever took the Illawarra side out of the competition, which again, I don't know why people keep bringing this up. The St George Illawarra name is going to stay there for a long, long time. I don't know why people bring this up, because it's not going to change anytime soon. It baffles me why people do this. WIN Stadium is probably a better ground, in my opinion, than Cogra. You're closer to the action. You're right on top of people. What ground in the NRL has a windsock, as Joey points out at the games, and you're right on the beach? Nothing better than that. People love WIN Stadium. I love it too. My opinion, it's the best ground in the NRL to watch a game. Best atmosphere, and yeah, no taking Illawarra out of the ground, out of the merge, and no taking games away from WIN Stadium, because WIN Stadium is a great place to watch rugby league.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a loaded question. It always is, but yeah, no, I don't think it was great. It was great to have a fantastic crowd at Cogra, but you can't have one good crowd at Cogra in the last 5 years and say, oh, that's reason why we should disband the joint venture. Like Cogra still has a lower average crowd than WIN Stadium this year. They've had a lower average crowd than WIN Stadium every year since 2018. It really has followed a bit of a pattern. So while the Dragons have been down in the dumps, it's WIN have generally held up the average. They're pretty consistent in terms of the numbers that they have every single year, whereas the Cogra crowds really fluctuate. Overall, 135 games at WIN Stadium with an average of 12,486. A little bit more than Cogra's average of 12,291. Both of them, we'd love to see up a little bit higher than that, but WIN Stadium has the higher average crowd overall. So yeah, I don't think that there's any justification for calls to split the joint venture because we once got a good crowd at Cogra. I think that just seems a bit ridiculous to me, but again, people love bringing this up because it gets people fired up, and you get the most emotive responses as we got from you just then, Jesse. So thanks for that. I think everything NRL got everything you wanted. Muzzer, Mad Lad wants to know if you think the sudden turnaround in form should be credited to Ryan Carr, because Ben Hunt said last night that he thought the signs were there under Hook, indicating that we've pushed ahead from where we were already going to be under Hook and nothing's really changed. Would you agree, or do you think Carr deserves the credit?
Oh, look, I think it's a little bit of Ben Hunt just pushing that little agenda for Hook still. I think it's shown in a lot of aspects. I know you just gave us the stats with a few things there about where we're going better and where we're improving, but I think it's easy to see that we are improving under Carr. If it's not that they're playing more for each other now, or they're playing more for him, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I think he's bringing it out of him a little bit better than Hook was doing, obviously. I think that's just something that Ben Hunt felt he probably had to say, just to appease both coaches, I guess. But yeah, look, smoke and mirrors. I think he's just sticking up for Hook again. But there's so many aspects of the game that we can see we're improving, and it's not 100%. Obviously, we're still on the bottom of the ladder. But I think a simple thing that I saw, one of the statistics you didn't touch on, and I'm not sure if you've got them there, but the amount of meters we're making in a set, I think, is increasing. We seem to be getting out of the areas and down the other end a lot better. Well, not a lot better, but a little bit better than we used to be. That's one stat that I'm not sure we can look at, and I know a couple of commentators mentioned that as well. But yeah, I think just about every aspect we're looking a little bit better, and I think we do need to give them some credit. Yeah,
I think Ryan Carr's just a little bit easier to receive, bit better conversationalist.
Yeah, I think that's why fans like him.
Yeah,
Because he talks better than Hook. Like I think a lot of people had a big issue with Hook right from the start because he talks a bit like
very
this,
monotone,
and he's a bit boring to listen to. And how am I going to be inspired when I talk like this?
Well, isn't it, Donny?
Nailed it.
Doesn't he
Nailed
say, "I'm as boring as batshit"? I'm just so boring as batshit. At least bloody Ryan Carr's got some passion. I mean, for God's sake,
you can be boring as
Or
batshit, but
bloody-
you get results.
anybody on the side of the road.
And then the fans are listening to that, and how are they supposed to get fired up by that? Want to get to a game listening to that? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, 100%, mate.
Wayne Bennett copped a lot of that criticism as well. But like Buzzer said, if you get results, then that criticism very quickly goes away.
I mean, Bennett still had a bit of fun. He still did some karaoke in the bloody change room. Hook wouldn't even do any of that.
He does that now, but when he first started at Brisbane, it was all exactly the same criticism that Hook gets, because he was really boring. He would have one-word answers in press conferences. If he would let them interview him at all back then. Like, he did not like talking to anyone ever.
But you'd have a bit better faith in Bennett, wouldn't you? Given his history.
Well,
I mean,
that's
he's
the thing.
undeniable.
It's because he got results. No one gives a shit that he was boring.
Correct.
No one cared. And it would be the same with Hook. If he was winning, I don't think we'd ever have a conversation about how monotone he is. I don't think it would come up.
Peter Volandis has put out today. He wants to push a case for Wayne Bennett to become an immortal.
Yeah, well, I think there's.
I agree, 100% agree.
I agree with it.
I think it's inevitable.
100% disagree.
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 Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Well, it's about the players. The Hall of Fame, I believe, is something that they bring managers, coaches, and all sort of stuff. That the Immortals has always been about the players, and that's the way it should stay. That's just my opinion.
Someone's got to coach the Immortals.
Yeah, I agree with Muzzer. I think it should be kept to just players, but I think there's other awards and other things that we can create to recognise Wayne Bennett as being a great. But I mean, if you bring Bennett in, do you bring Gibson in? How long until Bellamy's in? Like, where does it stop?
Well, Ray
Yeah, that's
Warren
what I'm
got inducted in the Hall of Fame for his media commitments a few years back.
And
Well,
So-
Bellamy was a
and that's
fair
fine.
player too.
And that's fine. That's
I
my
don't think
point.
Bellamy's going to be an immortal, though. as a
Oh,
player.
Bellamy
You know,
was a pretty awesome player.
He was,
he was an
not
average,
that good.
Not-
he
not-
was,
No,
He was
I-
he was
he was an
he
average
was a-
knocker.
I
he
thought
wasn't
was
as
pretty
good as some of those players in that great Canberra side. No,
No, all right.
How many
Well,
Origins and internationals did Bellamy play? I wouldn't think many at all if he played one.
No.
So he's not in the immortal category as a player, that's for sure.
And neither was Wayne Bennett. Let's be honest. He was a winger for
Yeah,
South or whatever, and scored.
Well,
a couple
Nathan
tries,
Blacklock
played
was a
for Queensland.
superstar. How many Origins did he play?
0.
There you go.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's not
It's
an
about
immortal.
what
He'll
he
never
is.
be an immortal either.
I've got another
Unfortunately,
question.
neither will
For,
Ricky
I've got a
Boswell.
question for another day. Should Joey Johns become an immortal? Should he have become one?
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
because he should. No doubt about it. He was a
Yeah.
great player. He's probably, I'd say he's the best player I've ever seen play.
yeah,
And
me
that's
too.
all. That's the only thing that matters. What he did off the field, who gives a shit? All that matters is what he did on the field.
If it mattered what they did off the field, all those older blokes that
Never
are
would have got in.
immortals wouldn't got in.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
just-
New South Wales was
Guys
struggling.
like Johnny Raper have got stories that make the devil blush, mate. Like
Oh yeah.
it would pale into insignificance what Andrew Johns did off the field. Like, yeah, no, it's got to be about what they did on the field and nothing more. So I think Andrew.
Just a
Johns
question.
will-
Just a
Yeah.
question. People ask it.
I know people
like-
will continue to ask it, and people will
I like,
disagree
I
with
like
what we
asking
said.
tough ones.
Well, someone's actually asked me Cameron Smith should be the next one, but no, I don't think
No.
so.
Immortal
There's
grub.
players well in line way before him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Cameron Smith, it's only a matter of time before he is one. I think he's a guy that you can't compare Cameron Smith with any dummy half before him because he changed the position. It's not the same position as it was before Cameron Smith. He completely revolutionised it.
And no one's ever played 430 games as well. No, I don't know if anyone will ever top that record.
Anyway, we've got off track where we're Dragons go, and here we are talking about the Immortals. But in any case, we'll bring it back. We'll have a bit of a chat about the lower grades. Youngie, New South Wales Cup wasn't really a pretty sight, down 18-0 after just 12 minutes, which caused most people to turn it off. So I hope you watched a little bit more than that, because I want to talk a bit about personal battles between the brothers. First of all, the Couchman brothers. Toby's first game back in New South Wales Cup this year, up against his brother Ryan, who's been down in Rezzies all year. Which brother do you think won the battle out of those two?
Definitely Ryan had a really good game. I'd actually like to see Ryan be given his debut next week. It's quietly. I don't know whether they will, but I'd like to see it happen. He's been
Debut
going
against the
all right.
bye? Yeah, you reckon you'd go against the bye?
No, sorry, against the Warriors. Next game. Yeah.
I'm just
I
taking
think it'd
the
be a
piss,
good
mate.
game to debut him in too.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really good performance from both the brothers. They were both pretty good, but Toby only 60 minutes. Ryan played the full 80 again through the middle of the field, and I think it'd be hard to argue that Ryan didn't win this battle against his brother on this day. 185 metres to 101 for Toby. 51 tackles with 0 missed for Ryan. 35 tackles with 3 missed for Toby. I think we've got a great future with these kids in our pack at NRL level. Very shortly, I think it's only a matter of time before they're both in there, Daz.
Yeah, well, we could, if he can make the step up, we could certainly use that sort of defence. Yeah, I was impressed in a losing side where we sort of built pressure in that game and just couldn't really capitalise on it at times. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he had a good game in a losing side. It was a little bit disappointing, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the other brothers that were out and about in this game were the Finau brothers. It's kind of tough to compare those because one plays 9 and the other on the wing. But I'd have to give the nod in that little battle to Sione, the winger, 163 metres, 55 post contact, scored a try, and I thought he was pretty solid. Did a pretty good job. But Daz, I know you were impressed with Viliami Fafita, as was Mark Carroll in commentary, who wouldn't shut up about him. What was it that you liked?
He's very dangerous in attack. I don't know when they're going to give him a debut, but I think it's looming. Maybe they'll wait until next year, but he's a very good player. He's very damaging, hard to tackle. Probably defense needs a little bit of work, but certainly his attack is a bit exciting to watch.
Yeah, to be fair, I've been pretty critical of him since we signed him, but I did think this was probably his best game since he has come to the club. There's been some rumours circling that he's been struggling with a sternum injury. Maybe he's starting to get over that because it's the first time I've actually seen him wind up and run the ball hard. And when he did that for one run, he looked halfway dangerous, but was still less than 100 metres for the game. And I think he's still got a way to go before he proves that he deserves a spot in the NRL side. He's a big unit, but so far he's looked a little bit soft. Again, I question why Alec Tuatavake got so few minutes. He only played about 22, 23 minutes and ran 90 odd metres. So again, I don't know why he's not getting more time than he is. He's the one of the two Manly players that I prefer the look of Tuatavake over Fafita. But yeah, Fafita's definitely the guy that's the more imposing figure when you stand next to him, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But overall, going down 30-22, some people are a bit upset with this and the way that we performed. But basically, this team is the old under-23 system. If anyone remembers the old President's Cup, where it was under-23s, but you have one or two senior players that are in the squad as well. And that's pretty much what our reserve grade side is at the moment. I'm only sort of guessing the ages, so I might be wrong with a couple of these, but Stewart's 22, Tamale 18, Finai 22, Sione Finau 19, Herring 22, Couchman brothers are 19, Malyson's 22, Egan's 18, Haeli Finau I think is 22, Tuatavake 22, Fafita 22, Sherrod's 21, and Burns is 23, 24 as well. So it's a really young side. Well, that might seem like an excuse. I think we're using a bunch of sort of 18, 19-year-olds in the under-21 flag team, and then we're using the sort of 18 to 22-year-olds in resis. And while we might not get the results, I think this will see these players better prepared for NRL when they get the chance. And any results we can get in these lower grades are merely a bonus, but not the ultimate aim. Jesse, we move now into some NRLW chat. Mad Lad wants to know why Racine McGregor has been named as the captain of the NRLW side instead of local junior Tegan Berry.
Well, I think McGregor's experience probably speaks for itself. He's won 3 premierships, reigning Dally M winner of the year, reigning Golden Boot winner.
Best player in the game.
Best player in the game, as you said, yeah. Probably arguably the best halfback in the game as well at the moment. There's a few that could suggest otherwise, though. There's other good halfbacks out there, not saying that. But yeah, I think there's not a lot of experience. It's a very young and inexperienced Dragon side this year. We've lost a lot of experience. Obviously, we had a great leadership for what we've lost in the likes of Kezi Apps, Keely Davison, Polly Wheeler, who have both taken in turns. They were previous captains. They both had Kezi Apps has been captain for a couple of years now. Keely and Holly had stints there last year when Kezi Apps was unavailable, and then our first captain was Sammy Bremner. So we've had 4 really good leaders of the club. Obviously they've moved on now to bigger things. Yeah, but I think Racine McGregor is the right person to have as the captain. Yes, she's only just the right back at the club. Because she's been at the Broncos and the Roosters the last few years, but with this side, they're building this side right around her. The best player in the game, I think it's no surprise that she was picked as captain. I mean, Tegan Berry, yes, she's a local junior, she's young. she is still only 21. She's got a big future in the game. Future New South Wales and Jillaroo representative. I think she's going to be there for a long, long time. But she's still very young in her career. I think she's still got a little bit to learn. But I definitely see her as a leader going forward. But I think she just needs to focus on her footy. And yeah, she's going to be a great player. That's for sure. She already is. I think it's going to be a matter of time before she is captain one day. But right now, she just focus on her footy and keep doing what she's doing, and she'll be in the rep sides before we know it. What do you think, Donny?
Oh, mate, a bit of breaking news. India all out for 234, and Australia, the World Test champions. So we might just see the viewing numbers go up now that everyone stopped watching the cricket and come over.
Oi.
Aussie.
But
Bring on the
yeah,
Ashes.
I can't think of a better option than Racine McGregor as the NRLW captain.
There she is.
I love Tegan Berry. I think Tegan Berry is a fantastic player, probably my favourite player at the Dragons. But in terms of leadership credentials, I think it's hard to go past the best player in the world in Racine McGregor, current Dally M medal winner. She's a fantastic player and a great choice as captain, and has been at the club before too. So yeah, I think again a bit of a family affair at the club. With the McGregor sisters, and I think it's great to see Racine join a few other names that are on the honour roll as Dragons captains. I think she'll do a great job for us. What about the NRLW team, mate? Any news that has come out? Any trials that are in the works for the before the season kicks off?
Actually, they were. I don't know if how many of you were at the game yesterday, but they were unveiled. Coco, I know you were there yesterday. Did you see the team unveiled yesterday? Obviously, there's a lot of new faces in the
Yes.
side.
I did.
I
saw them.
Was there a big wild reception for them when they did arrive on the field?
Yeah, I think it was like half time, and it's just so it's good to see all like the girls together and talking about the season. I think it's a bit slack for the girls not to be able to be included in the boys, like the boys season, where we could have New South Wales Cup and then the girls or something. Like if it's like a 3 o'clock game, they could be like say 11 o'clock, and then a game because I always felt that the girls are shorter, so they don't get a chance to be like either before the boys matches, which I think would be great because there's some good players in our team and other teams, and it's just a shame they don't get that that exposure.
Yeah. Well, what they're trying to do, it's Donnie's spoken to about it before, they were trying to grow the game. That's why they have these standalone games. Like if you have it as a curtain raiser before an NRL game, you don't know if the crowd's actually going to be there just for that women's game. They want to be there for the NRL game. And people have suggested the women's origins, the second game's coming up next week after the night after the second Origin game as well. There's been talk to have it as a curtain raiser for the men's state of origin, but again, you don't know if the crowd's going to be there, if it's going to be for the men's origin, or how many's going to be there for the women's origin.
Well, just on that first standalone game, I don't have the figures in front of me because I only just thought of it now, but the TV ratings for the women's state of origin were, I think, better than the A-League men's grand final. Were about triple what the AFLW grand final ratings were. Significant numbers for the women's game, for that women's state of origin as a standalone fixture. So, absolutely huge for the women's pathway systems, what sort of following they are generating.
And it was a record
I think it was
crowd too
over
at
12.
Combank Stadium.
There was over 12,000 people there, wasn't there?
Record crowd for a women's state of origin game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I just
People
say,
complaining about that because it wasn't full, but yeah.
It's a Thursday night though too. It's a working night too. You take that into consideration. Parramatta's not the best place to get to, but
It's made for TV, mate. It's rugby league made for TV, and the ratings absolutely kick the ass of any other women's grand final, women's sport in Australia. So it's got a great following. Daz, you want to add something there, mate?
well, coming from an AFL state, right? Because I'm in Victoria. Rugby league presents a lot better on TV than what Australian rules does. Australian rules is probably, a better game to go and see live, but absolutely, in my opinion, rugby league is definitely better on TV than what Australian rules is. So that probably helps a lot as well.
You're from Melbourne, aren't you, Youngie?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's someone's actually raised that Melbourne could be the next team to have a team in the NRLW competition.
It should be Perth.
No bias.
They need an NRL team first.
Well, they don't. Why do they need an NRL team? That like the women's pathways over here in Western Australia are as good as they get. The Charrington sisters would be back over here in a heartbeat, playing for Kennedy Charrington's from Western Australia, playing for New South Wales. Is a fantastic player. Her sister's signed for Parramatta as well. We've had Claudia Foster over playing in the New South Wales Cup competition. There's Ulla Murray-Time-Cribb who plays for Illawarra in the New South Wales Cup system. There's a number of girls in that, Tasha Gale, that are all from WA. WA compete really hard in the national championships every year. They didn't quite go as well this year, but they did beat Queensland Country this year in the national champs. So and went very close to beating New South Wales Country, led 12-0 at halftime in that one as well. So there's plenty of talent over in Western Australia in its own regard. And what better way to introduce Western Australian team into a national competition? Why not? Why do they have to have an
Annika
NRL
Stevens
team
as well?
I reckon the next
she's played
NRL
NRLW before.
Well, she made the team of the tournament again, even though she's on in years a bit. An inaugural Dragons NRLW player and still making the team of the tournament at the national titles recently. So yeah, there's plenty of talent to go around in WA. Don't worry about that. But I don't think it'll happen somehow. Anyway, we might move on back into some more NRL content. Hasman, into some forced and unforced changes. No one on report and no one injured that I know of, although Sewer coming off late. Maybe there's a minor issue there that might explain why he was dragged for that last 10 minutes. But with the bye round, it should be more about players coming back into the team. After a win like that, where do you put Jack de Belin and Jack Bird, and who will both be available for the Warriors match, and who misses out?
I haven't heard of any injuries to Sewer, and I imagine the number of NRL shows on TV and radio, and it would have shown up on Facebook at some point anyway. Haven't heard of anything with Sewer, so I have to assume he's okay. I would have to imagine that de Belin basically just comes straight back in at lock. Murdoch Masila probably goes back to the bench. Bird, I'm not sure where he fits in.
Been going all right with Annie.
14.
Right?
I mean, apart from Murdoch Masila, who played yesterday that deserves to be dropped? That Bird can cover.
I think Amon only played 4 minutes. So what's the value in him there?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see that just in case Little got injured and we needed a bloody hooker or something. Like, why would you give him 4 minutes if you're going to play Little, for bloody 70 minutes, you might as well play him for fucking 80.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put Bird
I honestly don't know why he came on anyway.
He came on because we were winning easily, and there was 4 minutes to go, and he thought we may as well chuck him out there. What have we got to lose? Almost the game.
Well,
You can't play for
Junior, no.
for Junior.
Well, of course you can. You'd be a bit of an arsehole to do that, but you can.
He did make 2 tackles and missed 2 tackles, but he was only for 4 minutes.
Yeah, no, he was desperately coming across, I think, to try and stop Campbell Graham's try, and got fended off pretty easily. It was a typical Amon effort in defence, which I guess is the biggest concern for him. But if he stays on the bench, what's his role?
He hasn't got one, really.
No. So he came on to replace Little to play 4 minutes at 9, but Little I'm sure could have gone that extra 4 minutes.
Hmm.
So
A bit of time in reserve grade would do Armone really good, I think.
100%.
Well, I think I heard
100% agree. 100% agree. He's barely played a reserve grade game in his entire career. Send him back there to learn
Get
his
it
craft
together
a little
again.
bit better.
Yep.
Play it that slower paced environment. I think it'll help his confidence and see him go from strength to strength and get back into where he was before. Hasman?
Yeah, Donny, before yesterday, I would have wanted to see him sort of maybe at 5'8" with Sullivan giving a little a rest, but the way that Sullivan played yesterday, I don't want him at hooker. I want him exactly where he is until Ben Hunt goes, and then I want him at 7. I don't want him to be a hooker anymore.
I agree with you. Yep. Pick and
He's our
stick
best
now.
halfback. Yeah.
Yep. Sullivan's
100%.
got to stay there. He needs to stay there and cement that position now.
Well, on Sullivan, Muzz, I don't think there is a change in this area. I think everyone's sort of pretty much in agreement that Sullivan's got to stay there. But how did you rate his game and the growing combination with Ben Hunt, and what changes would you like to see tactically?
Yeah, well, I thought he's coming along well. Like the first couple of games with him at the 6, it sort of took him a little bit to get into it. But I think the pressure of probably not having Cody Walker up against him probably helped a little bit to free him up a bit. But there's a couple little efforts in defence that he's making too. Yeah, he missed a couple of tackles that we touched on earlier, but he came up with a couple of really good options as well. I just think that combination is starting to work. What we sort of touched on it last week. Do we want him, at a 6 for a couple of years and then change him back to 7, and having him on the 14 coming out hooker? But like Has just said, look, I think he's there to stay now. I think the Amone's probably the one in a little bit of concern of where he ends up, but I think he's going to be our 6 with the Hunt staying at 7, and the combination I think will just get better and better. Tactically, look, obviously, Carr's had 4 weeks to work on it. He's got them to where they are now, ever improving. I'm not sure how much more they can go tactically wise, but I'm sure they got something up their sleeve. But it's just so good to see it sort of starting to evolve, and Buddy will eventually come out of that shell, and hopefully by the end of the year he's kicking some really big goals.
Yeah, I'd personally still like to see Sullivan take a bit of the kicking away from Hunt. I don't understand why he's not. He had 1 kick in this game for 4 meters. It was a little dribble into the in goal that got us a repeat set, and that was his only kick for the entire game. He kicked like almost 600 meters a couple of weeks ago when Hunt wasn't there. He shows that he's got a quality long kicking game that can take the pressure off Hunt. That's the big area I think where we could see some real improvement and taking some pressure off Ben Hunt. It's one of those things that Hunt doesn't have to do absolutely everything. So that'd probably be my big change tactically, would be to let Sullivan do maybe a third of the kicking even. Like, it doesn't have to be half. Just do some of that long kicking to take that away from Hunt.
Comes down to the coach then, Donny, doesn't it? And then it gives them a second option and keeps the opposition guessing too, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you've got a player on either side of the ruck, then you're right. It does. They don't know who to chase. They don't know who to put pressure on. And all of a sudden, when it goes to Ben Hunt or Sullivan, they've got a bit of space in front of them to run and take the space, and gives them some more options in that kicking game as well. So I think it helps out in a number of different ways if we can just add that little string to a developing combination. Again, I'd like to at some stage see maybe Sullivan take a bit more control at 7 and Hunt slide into that 6 role, but probably not this year. That might be something more for next year and years to come. But I think we're going to see that change and develop over time, because by the time we see Ben Hunt retire, we pretty much need to see we need to have Sullivan ready to step into the 7. And if he hasn't been playing 7, hasn't been controlling the team at all, then that might be a little difficult to flick that switch. Jesse, you had your hand up a minute ago. Did you still have something to add there?
Yeah, it's just on Sullivan. Like I've had a few messages today saying people like with the pending case of Junior, like they want to have Sullivan. Someone did say that Sullivan should be there just in case Junior does get found guilty and we don't see him play again. Like I don't think that's the reason. I think I think Sullivan deserves his spot currently. He's in better form than Junior. Nothing against Junior, but I think purely because Bud's been in better form. He's getting better every week, and I think he deserves his spot in the halves. And yes, he's our long-term 7, but playing regular 6 and then have him ready in case Junior does get found guilty. You got to have him ready too because you don't want to chuck him there that he without any games under his belt. Because he's going to come in underdone. But playing him at 6 now will get him ready for that, and as well as getting ready for being our future number 7 down the track once Hunt moves on.
Big T.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, who was that, Rob?
Yeah, sorry, I got a question for you guys. Remember James Maloney with Cleary? James Maloney was a more experienced, obviously when he went over, like Hunt, and just gradually over time, like you're saying, Donny, Maloney was giving more responsibility to Cleary, and now look at Cleary today. And obviously Jimmy's gone to retire in France. But yeah, we'll see progression happening that way with Hunt being a mentor, and slowly but surely, Sullivan getting a little bit more responsibility, even if it's at reasonably slow pace. But I think it'll happen over time.
Yeah. I think a slight difference there is that Maloney was a 6 playing at 6, and Cleary was a 7 playing at 7. Whereas in our case, we've got 2 guys that are both 7s, and one of them has to play out of position.
But Maloney was still the key playmaker though at the time.
Yeah, I don't know if he was. I thought Cleary stepped straight into that 7 role, and Maloney played his natural game, and Cleary sort of played his natural game. They were sort of different players, and I'm sure Maloney sort of helped him out, and it was beneficial. But yeah, I think we've sort of got a situation at the moment where I don't know that Sullivan is playing his natural game at the moment, playing at 6. He's an observer watching Ben Hunt and trying to watch what Hunt does to learn a few tips and tricks. But again, I like I said, I think it will develop over the next couple of years, and it'll change as we go along. At the moment, I think it's fine, and I think for the rest of this season we leave it as it is. But I think it will be something that changes. But Big T, apart from the 2 Jacks coming back, do you think any of the New South Wales Cup players impressed enough to get an NRL call-up?
I think both wingers in the New South Wales Cup impressed fairly well. Tamale and Sione Finau, I think his name is. They both done well. Tamale was 124 metres, 7 tackle breaks. He played well, and Finau, 11 runs, 163 metres and a try. So they're both pushing for a spot. Finau, he's been a bit low this last couple of weeks. So I think those 2 could be a change we could bring in.
I'd like to see it happen.
Yeah, it would be good to see. Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I'm just trying to send a message to Hasman because he's complaining because his last question wasn't on the agenda that I sent him.
Oh.
It's right there. It's right there. It's the last question on the agenda. It's right there.
Poor Hasman.
It's not on the one not on the one you.
It's on the one I sent you. It's right down the bottom. The last question is the one that I just asked you.
We can fix Hasman up. Just send him on a
No,
David
you-
Jackson
no,
form.
you
I just want to say thanks to Larry Flick. He agrees with me. Go on you, Larry. Thanks, mate.
You sent there's another one after that you.
Yeah, there was one after that I added in, but the last question on the first agenda that I sent you was the one that I just asked you.
Has anyone seen this Jackson Ford over in the Warriors? This is sort of player that we should sign, eh?
Oh boy, you open up Pandora's box now.
Nah, hopeless, mate. hopeless.
Hasman, you'll have to be there at Wynn Stadium for that game.
Yeah.
You better be there.
He made more errors than Billy Burns and less meters and less tackles.
He did.
It's on for young and old now.
Aye.
We'll
Anyway,
find out.
What on a
maybe.
bad day is better than Billy Burns on his best day.
You better be there in Wollongong next Friday to catch up with him.
Billy Bucket Fingers.
Fingers like sausages, but anyway, members appreciation round. Rob, representing all those that were there at the ground, did you feel the club did well in showing their appreciation?
Yeah, mate. There was a few online sort of how can I say it, things that they had for the fans. I'd written a couple of things down here. There was a vote for the second half for a run on track. There was official match ball we ran out with Jerry Lattimore as well too. And then also too, I think it was gate D between 12:15 and 3 p.m. There was free KFC, hot and crispy boneless chili relish, etc. rolls. And then they had music, they had people running around, cheering, etc. But what I would have liked to have seen in the games over many years for members rounds was like a lucky door prize type thing, but a free members prize. I mean, I remember bloody free trips, like a 3-night trip or a bar.
They said they were doing that.
Well,
They had
Chloe,
that
you were
last
there
year.
too. I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of people. I can't remember over the loud PA system or whatever if there was a prize winner, particularly. But I mean, it was appreciation with all the members. I mean, obviously there was a lot of fanfare going on. But yeah, I don't remember particularly that sort of thing, mate. With prizes, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah,
So,
they were-
if
just
I'm wrong.
in the game day information before the game, they were talking a lot about lucky door prizes and members.
Yeah,
Tickets would go into a drawer and it would be drawn at half time and all that sort of stuff. And
maybe I was at the bar, mate. I don't know. Sorry.
I wouldn't blame you, mate. But certainly at Cog Road, you do tend to spend a lot of time lining up at the bar. But
And yelling out.
no, I just mean because the lines are usually so long there, but
Yeah.
particularly with that many people, they're usually a little understaffed. So you've got to wait a while whenever you do go up there for one.
But I mean, look, it was a great day, mate. And like what you all said before, sure, it was a Saturday. It was no clouds in the sky. South travel, St George, obviously a great game, St George and South. But I mean, it was exciting to be in a packed house at Cogra as a member and to have a win and bloody well heart attack win. So, but to be a member and to be that day, but just to have that win and be amongst that amount of people was fantastic, mate. So.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, let's
Appreciate that.
let's talk about the crowd a bit, Chloe. How good was it to see the sold out sign go up and the hill heaving with red and white?
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. It was like back when we were like top 8 and everyone was excited. Like I had a few Rabbitohs supporters next to me, and it was just good to have a bit like to hear the chant and just hear the emotion and everything. Just the whole day it was like a roller coaster, but it was just great to be amongst it. And I was having a bit of a argy-bargy with like the Rabbitohs, and they were giving it to me, and I was giving it to them, and it was just fun. I just love it. And the hill was so packed. Yeah, we were asked to stand up, and we're like, where are all these people coming from? It just did not stop all day, but it was fantastic.
There was atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've seen a lot of comments from people that go to a lot of games and saying how bloody good, like the best day they've had at the footy in their entire life, and everyone was in great spirits. There was no fights and carry on. It was a bit of banter. It was all good natured, all good fun, and just a great atmosphere throughout the day. And it seems like everybody had a fantastic time, and that's the kind of days I remember as a kid that made me fall in love with the Dragons in the first place. So hopefully there were a few kids there on the day that, like me, fell in love with Dragons, we might have a few mad Dragons coming down the line. God help
Mate,
us.
Donny, I can assure you there was lots of kids. And, mate, one thing I haven't heard for a while was the St. George chant. And it happened, obviously, a few times in the game, and it was great. So, so maybe exciting times ahead.
Did you hear the Illawarra chant from me? I like to
The
piss
George
everyone off.
Illawarra, yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think I spotted you there,
hey.
Chloe, on the, out in the crowd.
I'm the only bloody one doing it. I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing it. Whether
There was
you
this
like it
lovely
or not.
lady who was very loud cheering for the Dragons. I think it was you.
Well, the Dragon supporters in bloody Queensland that heard you do that chant.
Yep, I love it. They do.
It came through in the coverage. You could hear it.
Yep.
Just
There
get
are a lot of St. George supporters in Brisbane too. Like I lived in Brisbane and going to Suncorp, a Dragons versus when we were in form, there was just nothing better. It was just a big rivalry. There used to always be a big crowd, not so much anymore, but it was always a great fixture too.
Yeah. No, I might stay with you, Youngie. One of the other great things I saw in terms of the members' appreciation round has been through on social media is a 102-year-old member in Les who got to go in the sheds and had the opportunity to address the entire playing group pre-game. How good is this from the Dragons, first of all, and also the old boys family for getting him down there. Just fantastic all round.
Yeah, that's wonderful, isn't it? And he would have got a real kick out of that. Especially being in the sheds and hearing the song. That would have been brilliant for him. So it needs to be more of that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was particularly good that there's a lot that goes on game day, players going through their sort of preparation, and to just stop for a minute, and they were all sort of dressed ready to go out for the warm up and all that sort of stuff, and sat down in the sheds. The entire playing group just sitting there staring at him as he spoke for a couple of minutes, and it was just. I thought it was great scenes, really, really good to see, and some other shots of Zach Lomax having a one-on-one chat with him, and all very good stuff.
And 102 years old is he?
102, yeah.
That is quite an innings, isn't it? That's
Jesse.
Yeah, I just really hope that we can back that up next Friday night. We head to Wynn Stadium. It's a big occasion. Friday night footy in the Gong, and it's Jack de Belin's 200th game. He deserves a big crowd out there. He deserves a sellout.
Get down there, people. Get down
Support
there.
Jack de Belin and the Dragons. That's going to be a big night.
We'll definitely talk a little bit more about that Tuesday week and when we preview that game. But for now, Rob, I might go to you. It seems like Flano is a done deal as the coach, and the announcement will hopefully be made at some stage early this week. The talk is now starting to turn to potential assistant coaches. What thoughts would you have on the men to assist Shane Flanagan?
Mate, I really hope it's Ryan Carr. I think the guy's bloody passionate. Already proven to us with some greater responsibilities being given as the interim coach that he's stepped up to the mark. And he seems to have that Flano passion, for the game. Mate, I really hope, he's the sort of key guy for the assistant role. And then obviously you've got your other guys as in existing assistants in Dean Young and Ben Hornby. Don't know how they would fall into place with their existing roles that they've got as assistants, how it all works with contracts and all that sort of stuff. But, mate, where there's a will, there's a way. I just hope Ryan Carr is kept on and Flano's the head coach. And
Shane Flanagan, of course, won a premiership at the Sharks. How would you feel about the guy that was his assistant coach at the Sharks at the time coming with him?
So that being
Steve Price, mate.
No. That's what do you call it? That's a setup. No, mate. Mate, if we're going to talk Sharks, our brother John Morris or something like that, who was coaching in the Sharks, come and be the assistant of Flano. But
Josh Hannay.
No more bloody Steve Price, for God's sake. God help me.
Well, he's a two-time premiership winner as an assistant coach. He was assistant coach at the Dragons in 2010, and then was assistant coach with under Flano when the Sharks won it.
Yeah,
So
but
he's,
not. I don't like him in red and white. Sorry, mate.
Well, he was
He
at Red
coaches
and
to the
White. He
World
was
Cup
the
Challenge
assistant coach
too.
last time we won the comp, mate.
Yeah, but I'm in red and white now.
He coaches to the World Club
2010?
Challenge too, Donny.
Yeah. Yeah, made us world champions. You know, he's got some runs on the board, old Pricey.
Well, who does everybody else think? I mean, is it immoral? Flanagan's going to be the head coach.
Well, where did I
think so.
see someone spoke to Ben Hornby and he said that it was up to the club if they're interested. So I wonder whether he would be interested in coming back as an assistant.
What does Timmins do at the club?
I don't know.
Oh, he's
to be honest.
in Pathways. He's in Pathways role. So
Could do worse with Matty Cooper.
I think that Timmins. I think Timmins with Ryan Carr stepping up. I think Timmins has actually stepped into an assistant role.
Yeah,
But
Ryan's
so he wasn't previously an assistant coach, but since Ryan Carr's stepped in, Timo's stepped up as well. So I think he might have slotted into that role.
No, I love Timo. He's a Dragon through and through, and he was great player for us.
Yeah,
Always
I'm a
put
fan
in and fan favorite of mine. I loved him as a player. Actually, just talked to him quite a bit. Yeah, it's good to see him still involved with the club, and we need more guys like him involved in the club.
Yeah.
Matt
A lot of people suggesting Hornby. I think there's zero chance Ben Hornby's going to. He's an assistant now at Souths.
Yeah.
A team that's up at the top of the ladder, pushing for a premiership. I just can't see him leaving an assistant role at Souths to come and be an assistant over here. He's only leaving Souths if he's getting the head coaching job. I don't think he's taking an assistant role with us.
Someone's
I don't
thrown
think
up
that's
Young
gonna
as an assistant as well.
Oh,
No.
Well, I mean-
Assistant, not head coach.
He's the same as Hornby, though.
And
same
again,
story.
well, again, I think that the difference there is that Flanagan and Young were assistant coaches together under Mary. Like they've worked together. From what I've heard, they almost always agreed on team selections. They might have disagreed with Mary a couple of times, but those two almost always agreed. Who knows what sort of pre-existing relationship they've got? So Flanagan might actually really rate Dean Young as a coach and might want to get him back. So I say whoever Flanagan wants, whoever the coach is, whoever they want, then allow that to happen. Make that happen. I think Flanagan should get whatever assistant coaches he wants at the club, whoever that may be. If that's not Ryan Carr, if he gets the flick, then so be it.
Have we heard anything more on Shane Richardson? That there was
No,
a bit of
that's not happening.
is that
No.
dead in the water?
No, it
No,
was
not
never happening. It was all paper talk and wouldn't this be a good idea? But no one actually ever did anything or said anything or tried to. Like it was never happening. It was just somebody said they thought it might be a good idea.
Okay,
So
it would be a good idea.
Yeah, Rory McDonald has just announced it, and I think we said at the start of the show, it is frustrating. I get it, but every contract has a cooling off period. So even if it was signed 2 or 3 days ago, you have to wait for that cooling off period to finish before you can announce it, and that might be a few days, it might be a few weeks. So even if it's already been signed, they can't announce it yet. Muzzer?
Yeah, just touched on earlier. Someone like the Matty John show saying that Dean Young was that actually said on the show? Does anybody actually?
Yeah,
go back and have a look?
Jesse watched it, saw it.
Yeah, a
I
few
think
people
Rob
did.
went back and had a look, and he said it was said tongue in cheek, but
100% tongue in cheek. He was winking, nodding, laughing at Fletch. I think it was
Yeah,
it was a beat up.
yeah, Matty
Yeah,
John's taking the piss.
Zero
I think.
chance of that. Yeah,
It was a
all
story
right.
about
That's
Chop
good.
One
That's
Dick
good
coming
news.
back in the media.
Yeah, I think you started that, didn't you?
Yeah.
NRL free, was it 180 or something?
Did Buzz break that one?
Yeah.
Be all right.
That's the best Buzz impersonation I've ever seen.
I
Did
think
you
it's
see
all right.
the Brafen Astor impersonation?
I haven't seen that one though.
Yeah, it was the same bloke on that
Was it?
video.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chloe, you're trying to get a word in there.
Yeah, I was just saying that I don't mind if Chalk came back. Yeah, he says stupid things, but who doesn't? But I think with the passion that he has and the head on him, I think he would be great. I think people need to stop knocking him down. And
I don't know whether we want him back as the head coach, having no head coaching experience. So.
not a head coach, no. He's telling everyone what. No, you're not doing it right. His ego will get a bit too precious, I think.
But does he have a coaching certificate, though? Don't you need a coaching certificate first?
No, I'll just like Matt Cooper, just turn up.
Yeah, you get one of them easy.
Or Bronx
Oh,
Goodwin.
Be like,
Bronx Goodwin, yeah.
Oh,
So just back on the Dean Young thing, like for the club to turn around and do that, is that something that someone like the Dragons board would do? Like, you know, everyone's got the hopes up now that
Yes.
Flano's going to do it. Is it just something that this club could actually do you think?
Yes.
No, I refuse to believe it.
Or envisage?
I refuse to believe, and that's the thing that's the reason why Dragons fans just announce it. Then we can be put out of our misery because we know that the longer this drags on, the more likely the board is to do something fucking stupid.
can you imagine the uproar? We all think we're getting Flano, and they come out on a Monday morning and go, "Our new coach is Dean Young."
Your long lost cousin.
There will be a revolt. There'll be a revolt.
Yeah,
God, I think everyone.
we've had Maddie's cousin Hasler. He's come out and said that he doesn't want it. And Daz, your cousin, you know, Young, he's still in the mix, mate.
If Dean Young gets the job, I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be the
Young
last
gets the job.
17,000 crowd we'll see for a while.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'll do the next pod naked.
Oh,
Oh, I like that.
Go Flano! Come on, Flano!
All right,
Gonna go commando.
Chloe, a bit of Zach Lomax appreciation. He does cop a bit of a bum rap at times from fans, but he was the one spending that one-on-one time with the 102-year-old bloke in the sheds. Also, there was another little incident during the game. A young bloke was in the coverage. He came onto the screen with his Zach Attack poster. He was just in the process of rolling it up when the cameras got on him, and then his mum got him to get it back out again to show the cameras. Well, Zach actually tracked this young fella down, went over, signed his poster, and had a bit of a chat with him as well. So he's every time you sort of see, you know, hospital visits or school visits or anything, Zach Lomax always seems to be the bloke doing it. Do you think that he gets a bit of a bum rap sometimes from fans, or do you think that maybe he really is a good bloke and a future leader of our club?
I thought it was really cute, like how he did with the kid. I actually saw the kid on the hill, and it was really cute of his mum to be like, "Hey, wait, bring it, put it up now," you know. And it was a good experience for the kid. It was really nice of him after the game to go and find the kid, and like that's what I love about like the players, and when their kids around, like they'll make that dream come true. And good on him for doing that and sitting down. I bet like the knowledge that the 102-year-old knows would have been like good for him as well to know, and just sit down and listen to the story. So maybe he could be the future leader. I don't know, but yeah, I think good on him. I hope he learnt some stuff from the 102-year-old and got to hear some good stories.
All right, now we might move into the most controversial question of the night. The one Hasman has been complaining about because it wasn't on the original agenda. But new coach on the way, and that inevitably leads to talk about what players they may be able to attract. And one area where we're clearly struggling to fill is that edge forward role. Hasman, you might have had a suggestion of a former Dragon that's off contract that you think might be able to fill that role in the short term.
Yeah, Donnie, I did actually catch the Storm belting the absolute shite out of our little brother, the Cronulla Sharks. Always good to see. And I happened to notice Tarek Sims playing his sixth, I think it was his sixth game for the Storm. And in his 54 minutes of game time, he ran 14 times for 103 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 22 tackles with 2 missed. ran with purpose, and only did a Billy Burns impression once. Now, you ask any Dragons fan who they prefer short term, 99.99% of them would say Tariq Sims, with the other 0.01%, of course, being Donny Bell. Anyone else have any thoughts on Sims coming back short term?
I think we've moved on from that, haven't we?
Yeah, again, I think it's an area where we're clearly struggling. The fact that we sort of just let him go would be it would be interesting for them to suddenly turn around and bring him back the year after they let him go for being too old.
It wouldn't be the dumbest thing the club's ever done, would it?
Well,
Wouldn't
again,
even be the dumbest thing they've done this year.
if you look at the players that we've got playing on the edge at the moment, none of them are quite working out. None of them seem to be working the way that Hook wanted them to. I don't think Ben Murdoch-Masila is the answer. I think Jack Bird is struggling. We've got a young bloke coming through as an edge forward by the name of Dylan Egan. He's only 18. He looks an absolute goer. He looks like he's going to be something special, but he's probably a good couple of years away. So an older guy like a Tariq Sims or even a Tyson Frizzell, another former Dragon that's off contract, that someone like that, if we could entice them back to the club for a couple of years while Dylan Egan's developing, then I think both of them would be decent options. I think the question would be, after they've been let go by the club and they've maybe not been too happy about it, are they going to want to come back to the club?
Well, Frizzell won't come back until he wins a premiership with Newcastle, which basically means he's not coming back.
Well, Sims left because Hook didn't want him anymore.
Yeah.
I think he deserves to retire. I think he deserves to retire in his home town, his home area. But whether or not
why didn't Hook
Maybe,
want him anymore? Is it just because he was getting towards the end of his career and then wanted to move forward with some of the younger kids coming through?
I think that he thought he was getting on and slowing down and really wasn't an edge forward anymore, which is what he needed. He was more using him as a middle forward, as a battering ram, and didn't think that he could play the role that he wanted him to play. So told him he was free to look elsewhere if he wanted to go. So
who knows, Donny? Maybe with Flano coming on board, he might get some of those ex-Long Bay Jail hard nut forwards coming over. You know what I mean? To the Dragons. Those mongrel forwards that we need.
Those mongrels full of peptides.
No, not those ones with the peptides, of course.
He might bring some Manly boys.
Manly boys over.
Not Aaron Woods.
I'm sure
Not Aaron
Flano can attract a few players.
Please don't bring Aaron Woods back.
Well, that's who he got here when he was our recruitment manager. He was the only player he ever recruited was Aaron Woods, and then he took him over to Manly. So I think Woodsy's coming back. That's a given.
Fastest prop in the game.
I'd take Billy Burns over him.
So Woodsy's basically Flano's Mbai, is he?
He's Flano's Darius Boyd. Just follows him wherever he goes. All right, we might call it a night there, fellas, and Chloe. Thanks very much for joining us. I'd like to thank everyone that has joined us in the comments tonight. It's been pretty consistent with the viewers on there tonight, so it's been fantastic once again. Always appreciate your engagement and some amusing comments as we head into the bye round. We will more than likely take a week off. We're trying to organise a couple of guests, but don't think that's quite going to work out. So we might take a week off, be back Tuesday week for a bit of an Origin preview to go along with previewing Jack de Bellin's 200th game against the Warriors. Thanks very much for joining us. Come on, Dragons fans. Fire up!
Fire up.
Dragons for life, baby.
Fire up.